This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
There seems to be some unease within the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line community.
Okay.
About us discussing, and frankly, I've led this discussion. I'll gladly own it. Regarding Finchie's appearance, his hair, all this discussion. We're not allowed to, is it, well, you guys really seem really interested in, what Finchie looks like and what his hair looks like. I mean, is that...
Are we objectifying Finchie too much for some people?
Well, that's not the reason they're upset. The implication seems to be, why are you interested in what other men look like? Well, it's just part of the countenance that we're talking about. It's not something I think I want to explore daily, but I don't think it should be a problem. I mean, if you go back in the day, you mentioned it, Pat Riley. I mean, wasn't part of the Pat Riley was about substance, obviously, but part of it was the presentation, what he seemed to present to everybody. The look, the Pat Riley look. That was interesting fodder back in the day, an interesting discussion, I thought. I don't think we should have to feel obligated to run from it. How much bats and balls and how do they deal with the matchup zone, which we have talked about and I'm sure we'll talk about again.
Yeah.
How far can we go? Otherwise, on that, we're just repeating ourselves over and over again, aren't we?
We are.
It's a Friday, too.
And last night's game wasn't overly interesting.
That's true.
It was necessary. The Wolves played better. The Warriors, by Steve Kerr's own admission, threw a lot of stuff out there, didn't play Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green huge minutes.
He made it sound like it was a preseason game for the Warriors.
Yeah, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but I understand,
yes,
I guess, the
in
theory.
Yes.
Especially with the news that Shams Charania speculated about today on the Pat McAfee show, one of your favorites. And not totally surprising, but Shams was the guy who moments after Steph Curry left the game the other night had it that it was a hamstring and he ain't coming back. I don't even know if anything official had come out from the team yet. So he's plugged in. We know that for ESPN. Told McAfee Curry has been limited to just doing treatment. He's going to be reevaluated on Wednesday, which is game 5.
And that's 1 week from the original injury, right? Yeah.
And as he says, my understanding is that he could be back for game 6 at the earliest.
Yeah.
So
that jives with everything else we've been told and heard and makes all the sense in the world because that's 12 days removed, I think, from the original injury. But I don't even think there's a guarantee then that that's going to be the case. So, again, it's Shams, so you're going to pay attention to it. But the fact is, there's no real surprise here, right? This seems to be confirming the obvious that Game 6 is the earliest you're going to see him. And even then, it'll largely depend on his healing process. Because he did meet, as we talked about yesterday, the reporters yesterday at Shoot-Around. And he basically said, look, there's no, eventually, because somebody said, well, what if it's the old... you need to win Game 5 to continue the series. This kind of thing where then you might try to go. And he said, well, we're going to get there eventually. But he said, we're not even at that point yet where we can do that. And then he also added, look, it's a tricky injury because your hamstring could act like everything's fine or give you the impression it's fine because you can do certain drills, but you still might not be fine. So how ultimately they determine if he's available or not is one of the interesting questions to me. But I think Curry wants to play. Of course. I think he's got Warrior in him. But I also think he's not stupid. And he knows, given the way he plays, that the worst thing he can do is to try to be too heroic. And that in the end, that's only going to make things worse for him and the club.
Healed can't hack it. Local hair bracket. Palinka's jacket. Wolves in 5.
It's not bad.
Wolves.
It brings together a lot of callbacks there. I kind of like that.
Which is what we are all about here.
Yeah.
Speaking of the, I teased it, idiot Wolves fan. We know Draymond got a technical last night. We know he probably should have gotten another one. Then there was a verbal altercation in the fourth quarter that obviously was completely unacceptable. And here is the statement from the Timberwolves that came in about 4 hours ago to catch people up on that. During the fourth quarter of last night's game against the Warriors, a fan was ejected by Target Center security for violating the NBA fan code of conduct in an incident involving Draymond Green. A second individual, who was identified by surrounding patrons as making racially charged comments towards Green, left on his own before arena security could confirm his identity. The team is continuing to investigate and additional action may be taken. Timberwolves Target Center firmly committed to fostering an inclusive, respectful, and safe environment for all. Racist, hateful, or threatening behavior has no place at our games or in our community and will not be tolerated under any circumstances.
If there's any attempt by Draymond Green, and he's done this before, to turn himself into a martyr regarding the idea that he has been targeted by the league and by critics over the years, that's him at his most delusional, right? Because the record, as we laid out before, speaks for itself. In fact, I'll revisit that next segment. That's a very separate issue from, as you say, what took place when he's on the bike, because that's non-negotiable and unacceptable, and we all get that. I'll try another theory regarding why ultimately the refs did not do what they had every right to do, which was toss him from that game. It wasn't so much the fear of, well, we grade on a different curve. We really don't want to throw him out because then the game is over. Could it be, if you don't throw him out, well, if you do throw him out, that then he totally unravels and starts throwing stuff and actually feels more emboldened to be more confrontational and more challenging, and the refs didn't want to mess with that, as opposed to leaving the court quietly and, meekly, which he's not really capable of doing.
Maybe. I don't know. It's just weird to have these conversations about an adult professional who's been around forever.
No, and again,
we're all trying to come up with reasons why certain things did or didn't happen.
By any measurable standard yesterday, disruption, length of disruption, language, there is literally no other player in the National Basketball Association who would not have been tossed from that game. As far as I'm concerned, I think that's the irony of Draymond saying he's treated differently. He is. Actually, he is, but in the wrong way in this particular environment.
How about your American League Central? Tigers have won 4 in a row. Guardians have won 2 in a row. Royals have won 6 in a row. Your Minnesota Twins have won 5 in a row. So they're winning, but they can't make up any ground. They are 4.5 games back.
You know, we're playing this weekend?
We're playing a good team.
What's the name of the team?
San Francisco Giants.
Who are the Wolves playing tomorrow and Monday?
They are in San Francisco. Wolves in 5.
The Battle of San Francisco for us.
Twins in 5.
Yeah.
The Giants in 3rd place in the West because they're also a wagon. The Dodgers and Padres reside in that division.
Whoa,
the Giants are 24-14. They have won 2 games in a row. It's Chris Paddock, who's pitched pretty well, against Jordan Hicks tonight at Target Field. First pitch, 6:40. So I should say 7:10.
Have we done enough that the immediate heat is off the manager? Rocco, is he safe again? I'm not saying he was never as close to being dismissed as some have speculated, but I do think if they continued to struggle, it becomes inevitable that the manager's security is in question, or questions are asked whether it should be classified as his fault or not. If you put together a terrible collapse to end last season with another terrible start this season, that's what tends to get managers fired. Whether they deserve that level of scrutiny or not, that's what's going to happen. And now maybe, a little bit of the pressure is off if the Twins can indeed sustain things. Although, as you remind us, they're playing a better team again this weekend.
Well,
correct?
This is the time, right? Because they've kind of feasted on the bad teams,
correct,
haven't beaten the good teams consistently, and that's why they're 2 games below 500. At some point, you got to rise up a little bit. and handle a good team, especially here at home. Maybe that starts tonight. Only time will tell, Davey. Fan and BigDeck.com. I'll give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest, and the final keyword of the week is Bills. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword Bills.
You didn't have time for it, I don't think, but I'm assuming Vegas is dominating the second round, given, they were, according to everything I was told, a great team that really, really tough to beat. Are they up in their series? But you know what? Both games have been very close. Very, very close. I think they lost both of them at home, didn't they? Down 0-2?
They did.
Can't be beaten.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Carboni's Pizzeria wants to fuel your playoff party. You can visit one of their 30-plus locations to enjoy delicious pizza and get ready for the playoff run. Find your nearest Carboni's today at carbonispizza.com.
KFAN is the best. Draymond is a mess. Can I be Dan Barrero's guest? Wolves in 5. Hashtag Wolves back. Tweeter Dustin raises a very pertinent point regarding the hair discussion. Finchie and Nico Medved, best hair. Only sport to not wear a hat/helmet makes you think. Can you recall a single college or professional basketball coach who wore on a regular basis a hat on the sidelines? Actually, there is one. Is there not?
Who?
Didn't Red Auerbach wear a hat, or did he? I can't remember if he wore one on the sidelines.
While he was coaching?
While he was coaching.
Like during the game? It? I don't remember. I don't know.
Something tells me he did, but even if he did, I can't think of another one. Can you?
Well, I could think of one that wears one, at least wore one almost every day at practice, not during a game, but Dwayne Casey would always be in a hat at practice.
That's true.
And then he would do media, and he'd be wearing a hat. A longtime Wolves fans can confirm or deny that, but I remember Case always having a hat on for practice, but obviously not in the games.
The point is, I think, an important one, because part of maybe how we evaluate is when we're accustomed to seeing a coach with a hat on, it may be on that basis alone off-putting when we see him without a hat, just because we're not accustomed to seeing him without a hat. It may not be any statement about the hair or about the look. It's like, well, God, he just looks different there. That doesn't even add up. It doesn't make any sense. And it is true, as we talked about earlier, with Bud. You thought mainly of Bud Grant with a ball cap on, correct? And the times we interviewed him, sometimes he didn't have a cap on, and he seemed a lot more human and a lot more vulnerable, one could say. It didn't carry quite the same countenance, I would say, without it. And it's definitely true with Tom Landry, as I mentioned. Tom Landry just looked like like your grandpa or something. It's Tom Landry.
Right. Bear Bryant wearing his hat.
Willard Eichela.
Yeah.
There's a big one if you want to go local angle and high school level. Does it get any bigger than that?
It does not. Certainly not.
I'm not sure. Did you ever see Eichel without a hat on? I don't know if I ever did. I don't know what I'd do.
You wouldn't recognize it.
No.
People get weirded out when they see me without a hat on, because I typically wear a hat every day for the most part. So when I'm not wearing a hat, people always assume I just got a haircut.
Yeah.
And I say, no, I didn't. I'm just not wearing my hat today.
Yeah, that's true.
Because for whatever the reason, I've just always been a hat guy.
Real quick on Draymond, let's remind folks, this may be in the classification of stating the obvious, but I think you do occasionally just need to look at the record regarding, he sort of has many times laid out the idea that, well, everybody, the refs are out to get me, everybody's out to get me, I'm misunderstood. He should rightly be viewed, I think on the basis of his record as an angry man, not an angry black man, an angry man. It's undeniable. Let's go again through it quickly. 2023, suspended indefinitely for striking Jusuf Nurkic. 2023, suspended 5 games for putting Rudy Gobert in a headlock. 2023, suspended for stepping on Sabonis' chest during a playoff game. 2023, suspended for exceeding the season-long technical foul limit. 2018, suspended for altercation with Kevin Durant. 2016, suspended for altercation with LeBron James. And as we mentioned earlier, that doesn't even include the fact that he punched a teammate in the face.
In practice.
In practice. Right? In the face. So, again, there's no conspiracy here. It's simply an ongoing record that is in the record. These are facts. They are not to be disputed. I guess you could say, well, did he deserve all the suspensions? And I would say he probably deserved several more as well. And the overall analytic tally, if it matters to Draymond, suspended 6 times in his NBA career. He's received 227 fines over the course of his career as well. The NBA typically averages less than 1 suspension per team each season, 6 for one player, even for over a 13-year career, would be in the classification of dramatically high. And I'm not asking that he needed to be suspended for what took place last night, but I am here to tell you that he made a spectacle out of not only himself, but the game again. And the fact that to me, I hate doing the back in David Stern's day. I really do. But I can't help it at a time like this. David Stern, I'm not exactly sure what the punishment would be for Draymond, but I have a strong feeling that he would call in every single official, referee, and he'd say, gentlemen, if I see another example of what I deem as preferential treatment for Draymond Green about throwing him out of a game like I saw last night in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you will be suspended. Stop this. This is hurting the credibility of the league to let this go as far as we have let it go. And, he was a student of the game, was David Stern. He would know that Draymond Green is a hell of a basketball player. As we talked about with Tom Crean earlier, he's one of the most unique players in the history of the league. Crean laid out nicely the subtle little things that don't even show up in box scores that he does with his body and with his mind to influence the outcome of games. It was a brilliant dissertation on all of that. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. I don't even know if I buy the notion that, well, you got to, as again, Kerr is stuck. He's got to make excuses. And last night, it's part of the package with Draymond. You can have an edge without going where Draymond has gone over and over again. And if you want to let people reveal, to let you reveal yourself that there is more to you than anger, more to you than becoming unhinged, then do something about it. It's as simple as that. It's not that difficult. How long did we talk about, Bob Knight, Indiana University coach? He would say, occasionally, I'm stereotyped. They make me seem like that's all I am is deranged and crazy and angry Bobby Knight. He would never say Bobby. He always said Bob. And I don't know how many times I said or wrote, you have a brilliant mind. You are a great interview. There is clearly more to you. But if you want people to see that side of you, don't participate in the antics that you do. Do not lose control as often as you do. It's no mystery. That would give people a better chance to see more than what might be classified as the surface stuff. And it's quite frankly the same with Draymond. And last night, I don't know why it bugged me to the degree it did, but I'm looking around, I'm going, when is this going to end? And I think we have the answer. The answer is it's not. The decision, a conscious decision is made that we are going to have a different set of rules for him as opposed to, we're done. We're done nuancing it out. And, well, how tough was he? How long did it go? They're trying to work with him on the sidelines. The coach is coming out. Steph Curry's coming out. No, stop. That's what enables him. Gone. You're gone. Bye-bye. And maybe that's what you want in a game where you're losing by 15. But that doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. And that was the right thing to do last night. And it's one of the things that undermines this league's credibility to a large extent. And that's the whole thing is giving Draymond, as good as he is, too much oxygen and too much attention. He's a Hall of Fame player. I really believe that. But it shouldn't be all about him to the degree that it becomes after a nonsense like that. And again, you can believe that and maintain that none of that means that any idiot, any fool has the right to throw out racial epithets or racially charged language, whatever term you want to use, because we don't know what the words are, I don't think yet at this point, but stuff that is not, for me at least, and I think for most people, should be non-negotiable regardless of the preamble that I just laid out. Lavelle was there last night. Let's get Lavelle's view on Draymond. Let's get Lavelle's view on the Wolves' condition after tying up the series in Game 2. Maybe we will talk some Twins with him, and who knows what else.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Lavelle around the
KFAN and Sucut Manufacturing bring you Fan on the Farm. Starting May 19th, 9 to noon, we'll be taking your tractor talkbacks, and each day one farmer will be chosen to receive a Sucut prize pack, which includes a Carhartt cooler and a Brewmate Growler canteen. You can get the full details at KFAN.com/farm. Sucut Manufacturing Company, helping farmers feed and fuel the world.
Finchie's hair, Rudy Gobert, Jacques Lemaire. Is it time for the fair? Wolves in 5. That's not bad. You know, it's funny. You passed along to me, Gaardsy, as we prepare to chat with Lavelle Neal III, a great tweet with video that seems to confirm that Pope Leo XIV is indeed a White Sox fan, not a Cubs fan. And it's a crowd shot from the Fox coverage, Game 1 of the 2005 World Series. And what makes it pertinent today, in addition to the shot itself, where it looks like he's with other family members, looking on very nervously as the White Sox are trying to close out Game 1, is he's not wearing a hat. There's no Pope hat. There's no religious hat. There's no nothing. And I feel like when I look at him, ever since he was presented as Pope Leo XIV, I can't imagine him without a hat. It almost feels like he's not the same guy. Lavelle, have you seen this particular piece of video?
I've not seen that video. I'm intrigued by it. I'm just glad that we got it clear because the Cubs fans tried to claim him.
Quickly,
they tried to claim him immediately.
Yes.
As soon as the white smoke was wafting over the Vatican, he's got to be a Cubs fan if he's from Chicago. And it took a trip to his brother's house. His brother confirmed that he indeed is a White Sox fan, and now he got video to back it up. So I'm just glad that we shut the arrogant, conceited Cubs fan base down and understand that.
Was this Rick Bozich part 2?
Man of the people. Man. Man of the people.
Well, here the backstory, as I understand it, is the brother who confirmed that Pope Leo still is a White Sox fan despite their ineptitude. That their mom was a Cubs fan. That because the family originally was on the north side. He grew up on the south side.
Far south side. 30 blocks south of me.
Is that where it is? You know the spot?
Yeah, 137 near Indiana. I know exactly where it is.
Nice.
It's close like Dayton, Illinois.
Is that blue-collarish?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely blue-collarish.
Okay, there you go. It's perfect. Blue. I mean, that's what you want to know. You want that out of a Pope, don't you? Blue-collar sensibilities.
Right. Would you like another Pope fun fact?
Sure.
I'm a 1983 graduate of Mendel Catholic High School on 111th Street in South Chicago. His two brothers attended Mendel High School, like I did, and his mother was a librarian there for a while.
Is that right? Interesting.
Yes.
That's very interesting. There you go, see?
Yeah, because when he announced that he was the Pope, and then they said, he's Augustinian, I said, wait a minute. I went to Augustinian High School because the Augustinian fathers, ran Mendel. So I started wondering. I said, "Nah, I can't be." And then next, my high school's alumni website is like touting the Pope, and all our Augustinian brothers and sisters are rejoicing in this. And although he didn't attend Mendel High School, although his two brothers did, we still are proud of his voting in as being the Pope. And I was like, wow. That's really interesting. So, yeah, that's my connection to the Pope.
That's a good connection, and I'm chuckling because I just forwarded the video that Gaardsy had sent to me that we're just talking about that shows Pope Leo before he was Pope, long before he was Pope, at a White Sox game, World Series game. And Rick Bozich's reply text is, I think I'm in love. He went from ripping the guy when he first believed that, in fact, he might be a Cubs fan to, what a fraud. How could he be that? You don't want your Pope to be that trendy. Then the story changes, and he loves the guy. He thinks he's special. He thinks there's just something about him. And now he says, I think I'm in love, which is pretty good, too.
It makes you laugh, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It's a great, Gaardsy mentioned this on our Enough Said taping today. We'll be on tonight, weird times on the Plus and on Fox 9, I think kind of late, that it is, we are the non-religious ones amongst us, relatively speaking. What are we obsessed with in this story? Even beyond Chicago, was he really a Cubs fan? Is he a White Sox fan? Which seems to trivialize all this stuff compared to the weighty implications of rising up to get that particular rather solemn and important job.
Absolutely. I was gobsmacked. I didn't even know that the United States had never had a pope.
I didn't either.
And of course, you see the joke that it's taken longer for the Bears to develop a quarterback to throw 4,000 yards in a season to get a pope. Yeah. I was like, oh God. They've been coming up with one-liners ever since the announcement. It's been fun. It's taken our minds off all the crap that's going on in Washington, D.C. and all other issues around the globe to just kind of be happy.
It's a
everybody who doesn't like the Pope? Who doesn't like the Pope?
No, it's a great point, and I think it's also at its best, right? Because we're playing around with the Cubs stuff, the White Sox stuff, little quips like, they got a Pope from Chicago before they had a 4,000-yard quarterback from Chicago. That stuff, as you say, that kind of makes you chuckle. Now, there can be too much of it. It can reach a point where everybody's trying to get in on it, but it's relatively harmless. It's kind of fun and does kind of take away from the daily rigors,
Absolutely, man. It was a great diversion all day yesterday.
Can we assume that he's a deep dish guy or not? What do we think? Has that been confirmed
I read
yet?
Something that he likes Aurelio's Pizza.
Oh,
so
really?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the place he went with his family that I was talking about earlier today. Yeah, okay. Last August. Nice family picture at a pizza place.
I ate Aurelio's when I was finishing up my college career at the University of Illinois at Chicago. Yeah. So he has good taste in pizza, Don't know if a Portillo's is going to show up at the Vatican anytime soon, if some people have suggested.
Another good joke there, too, yeah.
And to be honest with you, I don't think Italy needs another pizza joint, so I don't think Aurelio's going to pop up there either.
Now, you're not one of us. You're a Chicagoan. That's established. As such,
well, I've been here for 20-something years now. I got to be one of you now, right?
No, I've been here for almost 40, and I'm still not one of us. Doesn't matter. So, are you at all offended by what Amy Klobuchar tried to do?
What does she do?
Her tweet was, welcome. It's great news. We have best of all, we've got a Midwestern Pope, or a Pope from the Midwest, trying to make it seem suddenly like we here in Minnesota can adopt him as ours here because we're in the Midwest, Chicago is in the Midwest. I thought that was kind of feeble.
Well, how dare her, first of all,
Yes.
to even try to do that. And plus, it's going to open up the argument as to is Minnesota upper Midwest only, or are they part of the Midwest? Because when I grew up in Chicago, I always believed the Midwest ended in Wisconsin. I didn't think that Minnesota was part of the Midwest. And all of a sudden, as I got older, there's this area called the upper Midwest, that included Minnesota. So I don't know where we should, what's the line of demarcation here? Where should Minnesota be classified as? Are they actually Midwest pure, or are they the subset upper Midwest?
I think we're frauds on this. I think when it suits our purpose, we're distinguished as different from Chicago. We're upper Midwest. When it suits our purposes to be part of this in a story like this, suddenly, well, we're all Midwesterners, aren't we? We're all in this together. It's not very, I don't think it's very effective.
Yeah, because the state of Michigan is part of the Midwest. I don't see a connection between Michigan and Minnesota, to be honest with you.
No, I don't either. I don't think there's much.
So Youpers may argue about that.
This is Tom from Savage. Pope knows Lavelle. Warriors fell. Finchy doesn't use gel. Wolves in 5. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Is that become a thing now? That walk from the Lakers arena back to the hotel has really gotten some run.
No, there's no question. We've had a lot of fun with it for the last several days.
The streaming,
but it makes no sense. He's like Ant-Man, Superman, Batman, Lakers of 5.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
Well, none of it made sense, but it goes all the way. It's a call, but Shannon Sharp started this,
yes,
correct?
Shannon Sharp started it with Lakers in 5. Ant stole it. The streaming of Matilda has had to have gone through the roof too, right?
Yes, you're right.
Really? I mean, my kids love that movie. It's a great film.
It is actually a very good film.
It's a very solid kids film.
It's a good choice, too. I'm impressed with the choice.
And now Matilda's got a rebirth because of Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Well, it's flipped now because now the chant Wolves in 5 was pretty prevalent during the fourth quarter yesterday. And, I was in auxiliary media, which is section 110, so I had to walk down the concourse and take the elevator down to go to the post-game press conference. And 3 different times, the Wolves in 5 chant broke out among fans exiting the arena. So it's a thing. And in Chicago, we call that the delayed sweep. When you lose the first game of the series.
Yeah.
But you come back with the next 4. It's a delayed sweep.
All right, so
can the Wolves do that? I'm not sure, but I do believe that they're going to win this series, especially with Steph Curry being out. There should be no contest. It really shouldn't.
So you wrote about Julius, correct? Overnight.
I did.
That's what's online at StarTribune.com. What attracted you to that story, and what did you write about?
Well, just because I think Julius's game has finally found a way to fit with what Chris Finch is doing and with the Wolves players are trying to achieve. I think there's a simpatico going on now with how he plays and how it works well with what the Wolves want to accomplish. And plus he was on his way to a triple-double. So that caught my eye because I think it was that he was at 6 rebounds when he got his 10th assist. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, this dude's on the verge of a triple-double. And, plus the whole narrative about how he's not been a good postseason player, which he is debunking minute by minute with the Wolves in this particular postseason. I just thought it was a good time to talk about. Plus, you never know. You have an idea. You never know how it's going to be executed after you go down into the interview room and get stuff. And the benching because he committed 2 technical fouls and was throwing a temper tantrum. Because I saw it. I was actually sitting next to the Canis Hoopus guys last night at Target Center. And I was watching when the ball went out of bounds, and Julius started complaining vociferously. I was trying to figure out if he was mad at himself or mad at the referee or what the heck. Meanwhile, Kuminga's beating him down the court. It was like watching Carl Anthony Towns a couple years ago when he would complain and bitch and moan about calls while his man is going down the court and scoring. And Kuminga finishes off, break with a 2-man jam. And I said, Julius has got to know by now not to do that. I said that in the press load. I forgot he got taken out and was pissed off about it. So that became a talking point after the game. And then the Michael Irvin thing popped up. Michael Irvin's not one of my favorite people, but, the fact that he flew to Minnesota to watch his boy play is noteworthy. So it was one of those souffles you didn't know where all the ingredients were coming from, but once you had them, it ended up becoming a souffle.
Well, it is interesting because we all look for sideline interactions when they get tense, right? And it was very tense. He's talking as he's coming down to the bench to sit, and he's barking, and the head coach barks right back at him, and they're going at it pretty good. But it's a good example of we can't always assume that if that kind of thing goes on, oh my God, the team's coming apart. In all honesty, I think it's the sort of thing where you say, this stuff happens in businesses all the time. It's just that their business is out in public, right, in front of everybody. And it doesn't have to mean anything necessarily malignant, right? It can be a moment where there's some frustration. You get it out of the system. I don't think Finchie kept him on the bench very long. And as he pointed out, he came back in, and he was he was probably their most effective player last night overall.
Yeah, and the thing is, these sports teams, they like to talk about, they like to pull the Ubuntu card all the time about how together they are,
yes,
how connected they are, and they like to be thought of like we're a family here. Well, if that's the case, families have knockdown, drag-out arguments all the time. The kitchen table is an arena sometimes instead of a place to sit together and eat meals, And in the end, the family moves forward. In most cases, the family moves forward, and feelings are hard feelings are mended, and people, go forward as one. And teams that can scream at each other and hold each other accountable, and not take it too personal and let it escalate into something worse that could end up, breaking the Ubuntu. So you handle those things the correct way, you've got a strong bond. And I think the Wolves are at that point with this team. And once again, another example of how Julius has fit in here.
Permit me to give you some Julius Randle postseason numbers that would suggest that the rap on him regarding the postseason until this year was pretty accurate. 2020-21, he shot in 5 games with the Knicks, shot 29.8% from the floor. 29.8%, averaged 4.6 turnovers. The next year in the playoffs, 22-23 actually. From the field, 37.4%, only 25% from 3.5 turnovers. This year with the Wolves, his shooting percentage from the floor is 48.6%. So that's a 20 percentage points increase from his first year in the playoffs. His turnovers are down from 4.6 a game to 2.6, and he's averaging 22.1 points. So, when we say it basically shatters the notion, it really doesn't. It means he's playing better because he did not play that well the first 2 times he was in the playoffs.
Right. The suggestion is that if the lights are brightest, he's going to shrink, and he has not shrunk.
Not in this run. Not in this series. In this
particular series. Yeah. So he has a chance to, like I said, he has a chance to take the blowtorch to that narrative and kind of write his own, or rewrite his own. Because as I put it on Twitter about Draymond Green, that your life is the sum of your choices. And before he joined before he joined the Wolves, Randall's actions with the Knicks forced that narrative. So, now he's changing, and it's great. His assists are up, I believe, as well, versus his time with the Knicks in the postseason. His rebounds are down, but they've been down regularly all year. I think he's
in a different role too.
He had to play in the middle with New York, and now you got Rudy Gobert turning into Wilt Chamberlain at times. He doesn't have to be that guy on the board. Yeah,
he's up from 4.0 and 3.6 assists a game in the first 2 playoff series in New York. He's up to 5.6 this year, and as you say, might have had a triple-double, getting the extra rebounds last night if he'd been allowed to stay on the court. Draymond Green, there's 2 aspects to the story we need to cover here very quickly. Let's start with the off-court stuff. The Wolves announcing today via press release that they say there's a second individual they believe was involved in the, again, racially charged. I think it depends on who is saying what words. And that they may be continuing their investigation. What did you make of, before we get to the Draymond's deportment on the court? It's pretty cut and dried, is it not? I think in 2025, most reasonable individuals accept the notion that you cross that line into race-related conversation, you're gone. Maybe you're gone forever, but certainly you're gone not just from that game, and we don't really need to spend a lot of time about it other than to continue to call it out.
Yeah, no, it's really weak on the individual. It reflects maybe an IQ issue with that individual if you have to resort to racist language to try to get under someone's skin. That was very disappointing to hear in this day and age. It's as sensitive as we all are now to that type of language in those types of what do I want to say? Those types of just shows of
ignorance,
this type of actions in today's society. You know, we're on high alert about all this stuff, and for someone to throw that out there in a game, and once again, you know, maybe the person's not creative enough to come up with a better insult that doesn't have to cross that line, but it's unacceptable. It's disappointing, and I'm glad that the Wolves have been diligent in addressing the matter and finding the people who are responsible. I gotta imagine that there were other people in the area heard whatever was said to Draymond. Right. And I hope Draymond's honest when he's asked about what was said to him. Should he have been tossed last night? Oh man, I was angry on Twitter. I thought he did enough to get a second technical foul, but yes, as our former colleague at the Star Tribune, Steve Ashburner, pointed out, that these referees, once they tee up Draymond once, all of a sudden they get selective hearing the rest of the way and kind of ignore him when he kind of pushes the envelope and pushes the issue. I didn't even see the free throw attempt that was being made because I was watching Draymond, you know, stomp toward midcourt, stomp over toward the Wolves bench, yelling, screaming. Steph Curry having to come down with his wounded leg and help and try to calm him down. He was a distraction. He disrupted the game. And for that, I think I called him unhinged. I think this unhinged human being should get a technical. I thought he should have got another tee, and he should have been ejected. And, you know, that would have given him 6. And I guess if he gets a 7th, then he gets a suspension. But, the league's at fault for Draymond being Draymond. The highlight reel of the stuff he's done on courts through the years is despicable. It's unwatchable. You're like, how this guy is allowed in the NBA, which is baffling because I think when it comes to basketball IQ, Draymond Green may be one of the top 25 players ever in that category. He understands offenses, defenses, movement. I remember specifically in game 1, there was a timeout situation. He grabbed the clipboard and started diagramming stuff for the Warriors players to look out for and to kind of scheme coming out of the huddle. You know, he operates mentally on that type of level. So for him to rely on this other stuff has just always been confusing to me about him. But the league has allowed this issue to grow and fester and become a distraction. Imagine having the chutzpah to suggest you're misunderstood and that there's a lot more to me with that track record. I mentioned earlier, it reminds me of Bob Knight in that sense. You know, Knight would complain about, there's all this stuff about me losing it during games and throwing chairs and all this stuff when, you know, there was a lot more to the man. Well, there was. But if you don't allow people to see it, a lot of times they're not going to spend the time necessary to get past it if what you bring out on the front end is that level of immaturity and deportment. It's not that complicated. It's not that difficult. So when you're looking for conspiracies, you're the responsible for the conspiracy. If there is one, it's a one-person conspiracy because people don't have time to stick around long enough to say, well, actually, the guy's got a lot of interesting things to say. How could you tell when he's continuing to behave the way he behaved again last night? Yeah, and then I really got upset when he played the angry black man card. That's a no-go zone for me. When you start saying I'm being portrayed that way, and I think on Twitter this morning I responded. I said, "Angry black man," I said, "Draymond, your reputation is the sum of your choices." he has brought this on himself. He's the one who looks like he had to go to counseling for a while, didn't he? Correct. After the Gobert situation? Yes. You know, my goodness. So, and now he's like, oh, I'm being falsely portrayed as an angry black man. I said, I would use a different word. Maybe just out of your mind, you know, yes. not angry, you just lose all sense of control, and you just throw yourself in these situations and get physical and confrontational. Yeah. Gotta stop.
it's unfortunate because in a sense what he's doing is trivializing, I can't speak, a real thing, right? I mean, we've even talked about that before because that is a problem sometimes that some black men have to face where that's kind of stereotyping's going on. So in effect, you're just lessening what is a real issue when, as you say, in his case, the issue is behavior, right? The issue is behavior. None of which, again, condones or justifies the idiots in the crowd throwing out the jackasses in the crowd who apparently threw out what they threw out. That's a completely separate issue. We can handle both sides of this, can we not? Pretty easily.
And there's only really one angry black man in America, and that's Stephen A. Smith, and that's a shtick he has used to make $10 million a year.
Yeah. And he might.
He's 20 now.
Hell. And he might.
Is it 20? Okay.
He might be the next president of the United States. Anything's, as KG said, anything's possible.
That was a weird Sunday when you went on with Jake Tapper and had that discussion, and the Don also weighing in on the situation. I'm like, what? Where did it come from?
Yeah,
my goodness,
it's crazy. All right, good. Well, I assume you're not traveling to San Fran for the series, the next two.
No, Chip Scoggins will be out there though.
Good for him. Good for him. Maybe I'll try to catch up with him over the weekend.
That will be at Allianz Field tomorrow for the Lionel Messi game against the Wolves.
Oh, there you go. That's right up your alley, too. You're Mr. Soccer. A little disappointed you're not going to be following the Red Hot Twins.
I was there Wednesday when I tried to tell Carlos Correa to start hitting. But the offense is coming around. They're scoring more runs. They're taking better at bats. Buxton looks great.
Yes,
he's got 8 home runs.
Yeah.
He threw a guy out of home plate. I mean, they're 2 games under 500 after the 7-15 start, which is a nice accomplishment. But they got to keep stacking now. San Francisco's a decent team, and then they go to Baltimore. Baltimore's got like 92 people on the injured list, and the current players aren't playing well, so you got to take advantage of a wounded animal. So let's keep the momentum going here and see where it's going to take them.
Thank you, Lavelle.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Brought to you by, as always, Allery's Bar and Barbecue in downtown St. Paul. It's also the great spot for wild shuttles when they are advancing out of round 1 in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Check out our contest page and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Minnesota Aurora home opener against Rochester FC. It's on May 22nd. KFAN.com, keyword contest to enter.
I need help from the audiophiles in our audience here for what isn't probably worth a lot of time, but did kind of catch my eye because I like listening to music on headsets, and I had good headphones and etc. I like those kinds. I've historically, I guess I could say, liked those kinds of toys, and so every once in a while something comes your way, and in this case, it was. It's listed as the, let me see if I can get a name here, the CRBN2 electrostatic headphone. I'm going, they look really handsome. I'm like, let's take a look at these. I wonder how much these might go for. And as I scroll down a couple of different angles of what they look like, because they do look really high-tech, really cool. I don't know if the kids will like them. They've got several 5-star reviews. I went down to
oh my goodness
the price.
Yeah.
It's listed as $5,995. And then there's
with that, I need to go. I do appreciate your call.
Add to cart. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, Amazon Pay, etc. Here's what here are the features. SLAM technology gives the most powerful bass of any electrostatic. Lower distortion improves spatial imaging and detail presentation. Second generation carbon nanotube electrostatic driver premium materials for luxurious long-term comfort and compatible with all 580-volt bias electrostatic amplifiers. I'll be honest. I mean, I know some stuff's, there's high-tech, high-end stuff. I had no idea that even if you wanted to, that among your options would be a headset that costs almost $6,000. What can the audiophile big shots tell me about? And again, I guess if you're a billionaire or a millionaire, you don't care.
Right, you don't even notice.
You don't even notice. It's not any big deal. But I'm fascinated that there's a market, apparently, for $6,000 headphones. Because that's the price, right? 58.
It is.
Say 58.85 or 95.
$59.95.
$59.95. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the website. I typed it in after you started talking about it.
Do they have one more expensive than that? Is that like their middle of the road headset, or is that their top of the line?
So CRBN2. I'm just going to click on a couple of the other products here because they have professional ones too.
Oh, well, that's even more.
So let's see the LCD S20. Let's see how much those are. Those are $500. So those are cheaper.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Let's see the LCD2 Classic. That's $799. So it looks like the one you're talking about has to be the most expensive.
And is that new? Is that a new one? Has that been around for a long time? I need some help.
Yeah, I've never heard of the product. I don't typically shop on those sites. Taking a look at it, luxuriously built, engineered for materials of the highest quality, magnesium, carbon fiber, premium leather, stainless steel, and polymer acetate.
Yeah, that's big. It sounds good.
Precision crafted. They've got somebody with white gloves basically putting together the headphone.
So here's the next question. If you're the average Rube who appreciates good music and maybe even high-end equipment, could you tell the difference? Would it be like, oh my God, yeah, I can. I can't explain it.
Right.
But I know it immediately. Or would you say, well, it sounds better, but I can't say it sounds that much better than, I don't know. Bose doesn't have cheap ones. They got nice ones. Apple has those exaggerated size ones. What do they call? They got a name for those. They ain't cheap. I think they're like between $500 and $600. But this is I'm trying to figure out how much would it be a mistake to try these? Like, once you get spoiled by listening to music in them,
right?
You'll never be able, you'll sneer at even the concept of a Bose headphones. I can't even possibly tolerate it because I got spoiled by what I heard when I tried these high-end ones for $6,000.
CRBN is based on a project to produce headphones for use in MRI machines. Between
MRI machines.
Audis, that's the company, and a team from the UCLA School of Medicine. Due to the powerful magnetic fields of an MRI, the headphone could not use ferrous metals, so researchers developed a carbon nanotube film electrostatic driver.
Man, that's...
I wonder if Krager's has these in the mahogany panel den. I wonder if he uses these.
No, see, I think...
I think
he's too practical for that. I think he likes high-end stuff, but my guess is he would say, come on, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to spend $6,000 on fancy headphones, for God's sake. I mean...
The reviews are interesting.
What did the reviews say?
I upgraded from the original CRBNs, because this is the second one, which were some of my favorite headphones, but the second edition, incredible. Even more resolution and the best bass I've ever heard in a headphone.
Good woofers, huh?
I guess.
Yeah. I got to believe good tweeters, too, in there. I mean, to me, it would only make sense. It's like what sounds like the performance is in my living room. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
the band is right here. That's how good it sounds. That, to me, would be the only way to... That and, again, you've got enough money. I wonder if Draymond Green has I mean, he could afford it. He's a big music guy, I think, too. I wonder if he's got these. I wonder if there's an NBA player, an athlete in any sport, because they make a lot of money, who has these. Because I could see where they, if you're an athlete, you go and you also have some interest in status. You go, yeah, this is something different. This is something not everybody, not even my fellow athletes necessarily have.
And these are headphones that you can't even plug in. You can't Bluetooth these into your phone.
So these aren't wireless.
No.
You got to plug this into a receiver.
And you need
a Macintosh amp.
Yeah, you need an amplifier with electrostatic output.
So how much do those go for?
Well, let's click here for more details.
I'm guessing like $43,000, $50,000, something like that for that kind of amp. If the headset's $6,000, the amp that will play it properly has got to be $50,000.
Yeah, I'm just looking at. I can't even get a price on some of these amps. They've got a list of amps that are compatible,
and they don't even give prices.
Let me see here. Yeah, $7,000. Like this one, the 710E electrostatic headphone amp, integrated amp from Linear Tube Audio is $6,950. $6,950.
That seems low.
So you got to spend
as much for the headset as you do the amp
before you even have the vinyl or the AirPods or the iPod, whatever you're listening to.
Right, man.
You're in for $13,000 basically before you even hit play.
Yeah, well, who's to say?
Jimmy Jam will be the one to talk to about this someday.
That's a great point.
And if they win this series, maybe we should get Jimmy Jam back in.
You're right.
Because I bet he's about to start. Did he go to the LA games? You got to figure he went to the LA games, don't you?
Maybe I'll try to check him. I'll try to text him over the weekend and get the answer to that question.
He can tell you about these amps.
Yeah, that's an excellent
and these
point.
Headphones.
Shure headphones. You can hear each instrument like you're inside the recording studio. It is a mesmerizing experience, to say the least. See, I don't think I'd want to do this once because I'd feel like I can't go. It's harder to go back.
Right.
If it sounds that good, that's a brand. I think SHURE, is it not?
I don't even know.
I think that's a brand, but it's a different one.
I don't wade in these pools.
Oh, this is big. I mean,
I'm using headphones from Delta flights most of the time. That's kind of how I'm rolling right now.
Like those are, I think, like $150 or $5.
Well, they let you keep them, so they can't be that expensive.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Let's come back, wrap up the program, remind you about a couple of interesting nuggets from Tom Crean from our number one.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Ban.
Show wrap presented by American Pressure, commercial grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper to bumper show wrap.
This bit is old. The joke's been told. Warriors will fold. Wolves in 5. I'm assuming games 3 and 4 will be on the flagship, FM 100.3 The Fan, as well as the Timberwolves channel.
There's no wild conflicts.
Is that right?
We've got them all. I think tomorrow we've got Fan Line, too. Let me look.
Do we really? That's impressive. I think it's a 7:30 start tomorrow night.
Yes, and
tip-off.
The homies will be howling after the game.
Pre-game? No, but after game. Okay, that's
correct.
Perfect. That's outstanding. That's a good idea. So it can extend your Saturday night experience reacting to to a very important game number 3, and then game 4 is Monday night. I think that's 9-ish, right? 9 or 9:30?
Yes,
Central
9.
time? 9 o'clock? So there you have it. Tom Crean joined between about 3:15 and 3:45. A lot of good stuff that he covered throughout. He does have a belief that there's another gear for Anthony Edwards offensively that he needs to get to. He does like a lot of decisions he's made, but he thinks regarding the inability to finish at the rim, it's too much of a concentration on getting the foul call and not enough concentration on forget all of that and get the ball in the basket. I'd like him to dunk a little more, but sometimes he's off balance. He's up in the air. It's difficult to do that, driving from the positions that he does.
He didn't seem to blame the small hands.
No, he didn't. I didn't bring that up.
Yeah.
Although he did say, I did ask him to compare Edwards to another great college and pro player that he coached at Marquette University. Dwayne Wade. And he said Wade had a much wider wingspan than Anthony Edwards. Now,
he said +7?
If your wingspan is bigger, does that automatically mean your hands might also be big? Is there a corresponding? Well, if your wingspan's out of proportion, your hands probably are out of proportion too.
You would think so, right?
Yeah, probably.
Everything's got to be proportional.
Yeah, because part of the wingspan is the extension of the fingers in the hand, correct?
Sadly, as a 5'9.5" basketball player, I never had to
not much wingspan.
Ask those questions.
Yeah,
no,
probably right about that.
Unfortunately.
What else did he have for us regarding the our conversation? We had a good stuff on Greg Popovich, who he said he didn't know well, but had a couple of interactions with, and also just about the Pop legacy, one could say. He did talk about the Draymond Green situation, and I think he does think Game 3 is pretty important, largely for the Wolves to discourage the young guys who, Kerr played everybody in the first half in basically in terms of let's see what might stick without Steph. And the basic moral of the story for Green was don't let any of those young guys who had a little bit of success in Game 2 feel like they're gaining some confidence.
It was great.
Shut them down in Game 3. Yep. Don't give them any.
Are they players or not? Basically, is what he said.
Exactly right.
Make them feel like they're not players in this thing.
Real quick, I wanted to get to one other item from Steve Kerr, who apparently has thanked the Timberwolves for their approach regarding the fan incident with Draymond Green. Here's the quote. "The Wolves handled that beautifully. Draymond is handling it well." Kerr said he talked to Draymond Green today about the incident and also his technical count. Well, I'm sure on the latter, that'll change everything. I'm sure there'll be an epiphany moment for Draymond
in year 15 or whatever he's in.
You know what this is? I am putting all of you guys in a very, very difficult position, right? And you can stop enabling me now. But I don't think it's going to change. I don't think the Kerr approach. Kerr maybe in the book he writes down the road will have a lot of interesting things to say, but he's too dependent on him, right? I mean, he's too invested, and he knows how much he means as a player. Now, occasionally Kerr has hammered him. He didn't after the Rudy thing, remember? He actually excused him in that case, which is part of the enabling that goes on. And again, for me, it is very reminiscent of the enabling that went on at Indiana University for Knight, for a lot of his boorish behavior. It was, well, he's too good a coach, and we there's nothing that we can do about it. And then, frankly, it became easier to handle Knight when he became diminished when the team wasn't doing as much. Sadly, that had a lot to do with it. And the fact is, Draymond's still not that diminished as a basketball force, even if he's probably not at the peak of whatever his physical skills are. The guy is still effective, right? There's not any question about that. And
that's why I'm still worried about the series.
Yeah, I understand.
Wolves have to keep the foot on the gas.
You are correct. All right, what else we got? Well, that's it. Tonight, enough said. 9:30 on Fox 9 Plus. 10:30 on Fox 9. Right after, is it UFL football?
It is, I believe.
Wait. Yeah. You can also get the program via the Fox local app on your schedule if that works better. Fan on Demand is scheduled for tonight. Dan Patrick will follow. We do expect the new May tradition to continue. I should have Alan Horton on Sunday to help review the nonsense from last night with Draymond and the victory and a preview. No, I guess we'll also be reviewing Game 3 as well on Sunday sermons. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the weekend, and we will talk to you. I'll talk to you Sunday at 9 a.m.
The job is done. We can go home now.
Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the great time. We love you, Dan.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.